Hey Queens, so just filmed another serious video and a little thing at the beginning of that video. So again, whichever video goes up first, like I say, I'm wearing the same outfit, same jewelry versus by Versace. You can watch that review. You can watch this ring and my Sears hauls and stuff like that, and then this necklace and my other pieces in my jewelry collection and designer sunglasses videos and stuff like that. So go look for those videos. I just scratched myself. Ow. As well as my other fragrance reviews, but today is going to be a fragrance review on Britney Spears' Fantasy. Now, obviously, this is like an iconic, first off, bottle and possibly scent, so to speak, because, I mean, the most iconic, I think, celebrity fragrance in general would be Britney Spears' Fantasy, Fantasy line, and basically Curious, because that's like I'd probably say every aged, 10 to about 20-year-old females scent that they kind of grew up with, obviously, in the past when it first came out, obviously, because of Britney, but even now, like, as Britney is still around and everything like that, like, it just, I don't know, I would say it's the Chanel or generation, so to speak. Basically, just because of maybe Britney's impact on pop culture and everything like that, but it's such a good scent. But let's get into the review. So I'm on Walmart because the Fragrantica description was a little just like vague. Like it was just like, okay. So on Walmart it says Britney Spears' Fantasy combines succulent fruits and Britney's favorite white florals to create a sensual fragrance. The alluring mix of lush red lychee, golden ginza, and exotic kiwi playfully intertwines a delectable cupcake accord, jasmine petals, and white chocolate orchid. A surprising finish of creamy musk, enchanted orris root, and sensual woods will leave you and everyone around you captivated all day. And this is the Eau de Parfum spray that I have in the 3.4 ounce. It comes in 0.5 ounces, 1.7, 1 ounce, and they do have the lotions, the shower gels. Obviously, now that it's the holidays, you can see the gift sets. With rollerballs, there is a Fantasy Intimate Edition now. That's like the newest one, I believe. I do have this one, obviously, in the signed one, the one that she had the 10-year anniversary. And I also have, like, Midnight Fantasy and all those. And I did review Curious, so again, you can watch that video. But the notes in Fantasy are sensual and alluring scent, whatever that is. um, Succulent fruits and white florals. So those white florals are kind of like Curious, so she didn't stray too far from the white florals in the scent. But this is just totally different from Curious. If you've ever smelled Curious and the scent, you obviously know that this one's a bit sweeter and not too, I would probably say, not too light. And also you have your lush red lychee again, your golden quince exotic kiwi, your cupcake, your jasmine petals, and your white chocolate orchid. So this scent is kind of, I think it depends. I want to say maybe this bottle is a little, it could be a little dated because I did buy I think I got a half ounce one at Walmart, and that one was I think a year and a half ago, 2 years, and I've had this one I think for this bottle maybe I want to say not too long. Maybe the other one's 1.5. This one too. Um, or maybe it's just the size difference in bottles. I don't truly know, but I know I did have the half ounce that you do see like at Walmart and Target and stuff like that, like for $20 or $25. And that one to me smelled more like of a pink pepper scent. And this one, I believe this one smells kind of oily. And when I say oily, it's kind of like in my Nicki Minaj fragrance review where when Nicki said like it was so like sensual and sexy that it had like an oil scent to it. And I think the oil is like the thickness of the scent, which is why I said this is totally different from Curious because I know Curious has a light scent. It's kind of sweet. It was kind of like a watery scent, you know, like perfumed water. And this one's kind of like a thick pink peppery scent that I had in the small one. But then this one is kind of like an oily scent that's just thick but also kind of suffocating. And when I say suffocating in the sense of not like once where you're gonna be like you're gonna die, but like suffocating like if you do overuse that scent, so to speak. So with sensual and alluring scent, I do think that kind of is like what's gonna captivate those around you, and it is fantasy, and it's like what's your fantasy, so to speak. That's how the thing goes. But before that, obviously the bottle is like iconic in itself because it's like a little pink, probably say like little gypsy crystal ball, so to speak, or something like that. And it is like it looks like it would have like ribbon around the neck of the bottle and stuff. Like I don't know, it just looks like a potion bottle, so to speak. Obviously not like Katy Perry's Mad Potion because that one just looks like a really cheap scent. Like the packaging and like the fragrance, the way it looks for Mad Potion, that just looks really cheap. Like she was doing so good and then she went a Mad Potion. But this is Britney Spears' Fantasy, and it is adorned with green Swarovski crystals. All her fantasy fragrances are adorned with little Swarovski crystals on them and stuff. And like I said, this is the 3.4 ounce or 3.3 ounce. And I got this one in a gift set with the shower gel and the body lotion. Obviously, those ones have finished, but the scent hasn't because it is such a big bottle. So I don't own all her scents, but the ones that I do love. And this one I loved. I loved when I got more of that pink peppery scent. But let me spray this one and see if that pink peppery scent is there. Some of it got onto my laptop. I don't know what it is, but with the little half-ounce bottle, it may be that that one was like a fresh batch, so to speak, and maybe this one's like a little old, or maybe this one like kind of like it's a little nearing its like expiration or something. I don't know, but it kind of smelled like this from the very beginning. But it does have like a bitter scent, and I think that bitter scent is your kiwi and your lychee, and probably like the succulent fruits in there. And when I say that, it's kind of like if you would have like I would say like your apples and your mangoes and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't know if apples and mangoes are in here when it's like just succulent fruits. Probably not, but because if you have smelled kiwi and you have eaten kiwi, you know it's kind of like somewhat of like a tart taste. It's not bitter, it's not sour, but it is kind of tart, and there is some sweetness layered on top of it. And just like the sun, obviously you do have your cupcakes and your white florals, and your white chocolate orchid. Now the orchid is kind of like complementing the white floral, but it doesn't truly become like, let's say, a Madonna Truth or Dare, or any kind of like gardenia and tuberose scent. Like I said, it does stray away from Curious, but with that kind of opening, that kind of tart opening, you do get somewhat of like the reminiscence of Curious. And maybe that is like because you're curious, you have a fantasy, you know, ha ha ha. But that tart scent kind of goes away. It's gonna linger there for a while, probably like about 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max. You probably won't notice it, but you will start to notice the scent because obviously, if you ask anyone about Fantasy, like I said, as iconic as it is, a scent and the bottle and the color and just Britney Spears herself, um, most people that have it or who love the scent are also even going to be like, wow, it's such a sweet scent. Like, this scent is my life and everything like that. Like, if they were younger when they had this. And it's just, there is something about that cupcake scent. But when I would get that pink pepper scent, there was something about it. And I know on Fragrantica, it did say that there was some kind of like a woody musk to it, and like kind of a woody musk undertone or like scent that like lingers or that you'll get out of this. And I will say that is sort of true to an extent because I think maybe that is what the pink pepper is, that kind of pink peppery scent. Because if you've ever smelled like your sandalwoods and Dolce and Gabbana light blue, and I want to say or Calvin Klein Euphoria Intense. I feel like Calvin Klein's Euphoria Intense, the dark brown bottle, the one for men, I feel it's kind of like the fantasy for men, basically. Like, Calvin Klein Euphoria Intense for men is basically Britney Spears' fantasy for women in a men's version, so to speak, because it is more musky, it is more woody, and I feel like that pink peppery scent will kind of be in like those sandalwoods and everything like that. So if you've ever smelled Dolce & Gabbana light blue and you do smell that like really strong sandalwood smell, kind of think of that infused with Britney Spears' fantasy or like any kind of like sweet scent you've kind of smelled, and just think of like that sharp kind of masculine smell of your sandalwood, and even sometimes like those Pantone potpourri things that they sell around the holidays, mixed in with like maybe like an Aquafina pink sugar, and kind of get the best of both worlds, most of it. And I'd probably say with the jasmine petals, because if you've ever also smelled jasmine, it is like somewhat of a very incensey smell. And when I say incense, it's like a very pungent smell. It's kind of thick, kind of suffocating, so to speak, which is what I said the scent can be if you like kind of overuse it, but not overuse it too much, you know, like a couple sprays, because it is such a strong, sweet scent, first of all. But because you will have that tart bitterness of the kiwi, and then you're gonna have that like jasmine on the side. Like it's gonna be a little like, and then like the people around you are gonna smell it. Like the farther away, like it's gonna fill a room, so to speak. But like if you just have it on you, like you will kind of notice it. And like even if you just like douse yourself, I mean, you may kind of be like, you may get a headache, so to speak. And I think the jasmine petal is there to kind of stop it from getting too sweet, but then at the same time adding to that like pink peppery kind of smell, but then also toning down the tartness. And I will say, just like Dolce and Gabbana's light blue, where you kind of have like those limey, citrusy smells that complement the sandalwood, I think that's kind of what it's doing here, the jasmine petals. But also because since jasmine is somewhat of a floral smell, it's going to complement the white floral in the sense of your white florals always have like a thick, very sweet scent to it, like your gardenias and tuberoses. And when you add in your cupcake and your white chocolate orchid, that can turn into, like they say, a very sweet, sugary mess that will evaporate really quickly off your skin and will kind of leave you from, like, instead of like an 8+ hour scent to like maybe a 4 hour scent, 6 hour scent. But I will say Britney Spears' Fantasy does last a long time. And it does last, I think, about 8 hours minimum, and you will get more use about it. Of course, it just depends like how you spray it, and if you spray it on your clothes or your skin, and obviously your own skin type, like if your own skin holds fragrances or not, and like what kind of fragrances it will hold. But when you do add in those very thick, sweet scents, first off, like you're gonna fill the room. Like I said, it's gonna be very noticeable right when you spray it. Like people are gonna be like, hmm, and I know when I had that pink peppery scent to it, like years ago when I had the little like half-ounce bottle, and I spray it in school like that because sometimes I spray it after lunch or like if I'm in the bathroom or something, like I'll just spray it on myself, because the bathroom smell nasty or something like that. And people would notice right away, like walking by them or just stopping or like like hugging someone, like they'd be like you smell nice. And I will say now, in the time that I've been talking, the kiwi has toned down just a bit, but it's still there at the top. It's still going to be a very lingering scent, and I think it is because of the succulent fruits and white florals. And I do say with your mangoes and stuff, because mangoes sometimes have like a kind of a bitter smell, like that sour smell, but it has that sweetness. Like if you ever have like strawberries in it, like they kind of have like a tart sweet taste to them. So if you've ever smelled like a bowl of like melons and mangoes, so to speak, like you kind of understand that kind of bitter top note with the kiwi. And then we've all smelled cupcake, obviously, because that's one big, like they say, sweet smell that we're gonna smell. So again, like you've ever opened like a little, I would say, container of cupcakes or something like that, and that like sweet like frosting or bread like hits your nose and stuff like that, you do recognize that instant like vanilla smell, so to speak. And then that white chocolate orchid does lend to the cupcake. And by lending to the cupcake, obviously this isn't like a chocolate cupcake scent, and obviously white chocolate would correspond with vanilla to give you like that white, sweet floral scent, but also being very young. So as I would say, sophisticated and as mature as it is still young and playful, so to speak, because you do have cupcake, and then you have like your lychee, which is gonna add again that sweet tartness to it. And I would probably say the lychee kind of combines, like, let's say your bitter top notes of like the exotic kiwis and stuff, and then your succulent fruits, and it kind of transitions those bitter top notes into your sweet kind of like cupcakes and your orchids and your white florals to blend together. But then that jasmine petal does kind of stop it from becoming too sweet and too like sugary of a scent, and like I would say too young, which is why I say, as mature as it is, it's still young at heart, so to speak, because not only like they say can like your basically 20 and unders wear it and are gonna love it. Some mature women who do want like a sweet scent, but also like don't want, like, let's say an Aquafina pink sugar, or like your Justin Bieber's or your Nicki Minaj kind of scents that are kind of a little more on the sweet side than anything. Obviously, Fantasy is going to do it, like I said, because with Euphoria Intense for Men by Calvin Klein, you do have kind of like a sweet, woody smell to it. And if you have noticed now with your Gucci Guilty Intense and everything like that for men, some men's scents have been going to the more lighter, sweeter side. Like there are still your musky, woody scents, like Calvin Klein Euphoria Intense, but you will notice like undertones of sweetness and everything like that. So there is kind of like a, I'd say, I don't want to say transition or evolution, but kind of like a maybe crossing over or something like that of like men's scents getting into like the sweeter territory, and also some women's scents have been getting more muscular and more cologne, so to speak. But I probably say Fantasy is kind of like they say the all American girl scent, obviously because of Britney Spears. But Again, there is the bitter kiwi top note as always. And like I said, this one's gonna be a scent that you're obviously gonna find now during the holidays, and it's gonna be in a lot of gift sets, and even go to Sears because you can put those on gift sets. But um, as I'm looking on the website right now for Walmart, the half ounce of this that I used to own is $15.97, and it was $16.97, so you're saving $1 if you go to Walmart. And they have the gift set according to them online for $20, and that looks like it has a roller ball, probably a half ounce or 1 ounce bottle, and a shower jar of lotion, and obviously they have Radiance, and they have, I think, a 1 ounce bottle of Fantasy, they have Midnight Fantasy, they have Curious, and I think those are the scents that, out of all the Britney scents that Walmart.com has. So go to your Walmarts and stuff like that, and obviously you can see what you want. But if you can score the big bottle, just score the big bottle because I'm pretty sure it's cheaper by now. But again, check out the Intimate Editions and Midnight Fantasy and Hidden Fantasy and all those. And leave in the comments which ones out of all the fantasies do you love and what you think about the scent. Do you think it is a very sweet, sweet scent? Do you get those pink peppery notes? Do you get kind of that woodiness? And if you have smelled Calvin Klein's Euphoria Intense for Men, would you kind of say this is like the female version of that and Euphoria Intense is like the male version of Fantasy, so to speak? Because I know I layer this scent with my CK Euphoria Intense, and it kind of blends well. And I think if I would get more of that pink peppery scent, it would add more to like that kind of like cherry wood, mahogany, sandalwood kind of smell that you get from like wood, if you've ever smelled it. But that kiwi is again going to be lingering there for a while, and I'm pretty sure you will get 8 hours at the bare minimum with this scent. I mean, it is a very strong, pungent scent because obviously jasmine and those sweet scents blended in with your white florals are giving it longevity. And the sillage, I will say, it is. You will fill a classroom when you first spray it. People are going to notice, especially the people right next to you, so to speak, are going to get like the strongest like force of scent, so to speak. And then as time progresses, it's gonna get like a little bit closer to a skin scent, but not too close. And I'll probably say like 1 or 2 people away from you, they may get like a hint of it or will smell it, just depending. And then I'd probably say this would kind of transition best into your winter time, because even though it is a warm, sweet scent, it will evaporate quicker in like the summer and the springtime when like the heat is the strongest, so to speak. But in the winter, as you layer it with your scarves and your jackets, obviously you can spray it on those articles of clothing, and it will stick along for a while. But I'd probably say because winter, like it's now and stuff like that, like you are gonna get your most scent for your buck. And I mean, 8 hours is like good for a fragrance in general, but I think you, like I say, are gonna get way more than 8 hours with this scent. And again, it is an iconic Britney scent. It's like the iconic All-American Girl scent, so to speak, as well as most of Britney's scents. And like I said, $15.97 at Walmart for the half ounce if you don't want a big bottle. But like I say, also go to Ross and TJ Maxx. You may find a bigger bottle. You may even find them, like, let's say, reselling the gift sets for cheaper or not. And obviously, you can go to Kohl's and you can go to Amazon.com. And if you do shop online, go to Ebates and you will get paid to shop online. And I don't know if Walmart is a part of Ebates, but I know Amazon is. So, like, you get paid to shop. So, like, anything you buy online, just think of you getting, like, an unofficial discount when you buy things. Because you do get cash back at a percentage. And you get, like, a check in the mail, I think, quarterly or something. And supposedly I'm getting one. Mine hasn't arrived or whatever. And this is not sponsored. But, like I say, if you do shop online, do that. Because I think now that I'm shopping online, like, when I think of, like, oh, I want to shop at Ulta, I want to shop at Amazon or Sephora, now I'm going to be using Ebates because, hello, I'm going to be getting paid to shop. Like, who doesn't want to get paid to shop? I mean, obviously the percentages are like a little sometimes, but I mean, hey, it's something, you know. Every penny is something. But again, there was a pink peppery scent before, but now it's kind of like a tart opening. You are going to get like a very thick, kind of a creamy vanilla smell, but not too vanilla, not too sweet, but a little bit mature because of those white florals. Um, it goes from filling up a room scent to kind of a skin scent, but not too much. And I'd probably say this is targeted towards a younger demographic. Obviously, anyone can wear any fragrance they want, but I will say for Britney Spears Fantasy, like out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it 4.5, only because I kind of miss that pink peppery smell that I used to smell in the half ounce, and for some reason it's not in here. But If you do like a sweet smell, kind of a tart opening, the tart opening kind of may deter you or throw you off a little bit, but just know that this is a sweet scent, and that's like what every review will say about it. But again, that was my review on Britney Spears' Fantasy. So like this video if you want more fragrance reviews, and watch my other fragrance reviews. I'm trying to get back into them. So I know they're lengthy, but I try to like explain a lot and like how the fragrances transition like through the notes and stuff like that. So that was again my review on Britney Spears' Fantasy. 8 hours bare minimum, tart opening, sweet, white floral scent. You may get a peppery scent comparable to Calvin Klein's Euphoria Intense for Men. And go find this if you like this or if you like Britney. So again, I want to say hi to Rami Malek and stay safe and God bless. Mr. Robot was nominated for a Golden Globe as well, Rami Malek. So my bae is nominated for a Golden Globe. So again, hi to Rami Malek, stay safe and God bless. So hi Rami Malek, you're my fantasy. Stay safe, you guys.